Moving on, a day after TMC promised a grant of 5,000 rupees a month to women of each Goan family, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram says, God Save Goa. Chidambaram tweeted saying a monthly grant of 5,000 rupees to a woman in 3.5 lakh households in Goa will cost 175 crore rupees a month, which amounts to 2,100 crore rupees a year. He took a sarcastic jibe at Trinamool Congress, saying that it's a small sum for Goa that had an outstanding debt of 23,473 crore rupees end of March last year. He ended the tweet by saying, God bless Goa, or should it be God Save Goa? Meanwhile, the TMC hit right back. TMC's Mahua Moitra tweeted that Goa's total budget, this promise is perfectly doable. Remember, ahead of Mamata Banerjee's visit, TMC announced the aid for women in Goa under the Griha Lakshmi scheme if voted to power in the upcoming elections. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by senior journalist Dashika Mukherjee on the broadcast. Ms. Mukherjee, thank you for making time and speaking to Mirror Now. This is not the first time when we've seen the TMC and Congress sparring in the open. They've crossed swords on several issues. But if we talk about these SOPs that are being announced by politicians one after the other, first it was Kejriwal in Punjab, now it is TMC in Goa. Do you think that these SOPs being offered to women will actually translate into votes? And do you think it's a good idea? Does it really empower women?
Well, whether it's going to work with women in Goa or not is something that the women in Goa are going to vote about. They're going to make a choice. But on the whole, by and large, there are two schools in economics on this. And I'm being very theoretical deliberately. Mr. Chidambaram, in particular, and the BJP, of course, are into balancing receipts against expenditure. And therefore, when they are looking at the expenditure that Mamata Banerjee's manifesto is proposing for Goa, they're saying, okay, this is how the total the total of amount is going to be 2,100 crores. So the fact is that women in Goa, as well as families in Goa, have taken a huge hit because of the pandemic and tourism. And therefore, finding some way of putting cash in hand so that the economy does not sink further, local economy does not sink further, makes economic sense. And then you have overall Mamata Banerjee's policies on women, particularly on investing in human capital. And this is very sound economics. Investment in human capital gives a very steady and very high rate of return over the long term. Investing in human capital is good economics. It may be bad for an accountant. An accountant may look at it differently. But then Mr. Chidambaram, nor the Congress, nor the BJP are accountants. They are political parties with a responsibility of doing more than accounting. They also need to look at how human capital is being served by the government and the state of India. And therefore, I really think that this is a classic fight between two ideological positions, both coming from the same conservative school of economics. It's not that one is more radical than the other. One is left and the other is right. Both of them belong to the same ideological position in economics. Mr. Chidambaram has taken an accountant's view. Mamata Banerjee has been rather consistent because in West Bengal, most of her programs have this agenda of investing in human capital. So I would suggest that Mamata Banerjee is being perfectly consistent with the way in which the Trinamool government in West Bengal has dealt with the issue. And 2,100 crore investment is seriously not a huge amount that over which Mr. Chidambaram needs to invoke God, because that is really taking his name in vain.
Okay. As you said that investing in human capital is good economics, I want to ask you one more thing, and this is not about just one political party, this is for everyone. Do you think that, like you said, that it's good economics, but do you think political parties also need to work on representation of women, like increasing more representation in the political arena rather than handing them sops? Like Congress has done. Priyanka Gandhi said that ladki hu lad sakti hu, and they have basically given 40% tickets, promised to give 40% tickets to women. Do you think representation of women in politics and enabling them, empowering them is more important at the moment?
Not more important, it is equally important. Representation is a must. The Trinamool Congress has a rather good record on increasing the number of women that they put up as candidates and making sure that they win. That happened in the recent assembly elections. That is going to happen in the Kolkata municipal polls. And therefore, I think on the issue of representation, yes, it does empower women. It does bring a change. Mamata Banerjee is just one example and is the best example of it. She's a woman chief minister who's looking out for women.
Yes.
And what more is there to be said about representation, empowerment, and the kind of difference that women make to women's lives? I think Mamata Banerjee is the living example of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shikha Mukherjee. It was lovely talking to you, and thank you for helping us understand why investing in human capital is good economics. We'll have to say whether it's good politics, when the results of these elections come. And that was an important conversation that we were having with Shikha Chaudhary on the TMC versus Congress.